Cinder blocks, often reddish in color, are indeed concrete blocks. However, they are made using cinders or fly ash, which imparts the reddish hue, distinguishing them from standard cement blocks. Cement blocks, on the other hand, consist of Portland cement, sand, and gravel. This difference in composition leads to varying properties relevant to electrical wiring, specifically regarding the use of non-metallic sheath cable, or NMB cable. NMB cable is a common type of electrical cable used in residential wiring. It typically contains 2 or 3 conductors, each insulated with a thermoplastic material. These conductors are then encased in a paper or plastic jacket. A key concern with NMB cable is its susceptibility to moisture damage. If installed in a damp or wet location, moisture can penetrate the insulation, potentially causing the cable to fail, leading to short circuits, ground faults, or even electrical fires. Cinder blocks exhibit greater porosity compared to cement blocks. This means that cinder blocks are more prone to absorbing moisture from the surrounding environment. Consequently, using NMB cable in cinder block walls presents a higher risk of moisture ingress into the cable's insulation, making cinder blocks less suitable for direct contact with NMB cable than cement blocks. Furthermore, cinder blocks tend to crumble more readily than cement blocks. This structural difference poses challenges during installation, as the crumbling blocks can potentially damage the NMB cable, particularly if the cable is crushed or pinched by the deteriorating block material. Given these factors, it is generally not recommended to install NMB cable directly within cinder block walls without taking appropriate protective measures. If circumstances necessitate installing NMB cable in a cinder block wall, it is crucial to implement strategies to shield the cable from moisture and physical damage. Firstly, consider encasing the NMB cable within a conduit. Conduit, typically made of PVC or metal, provides a protective barrier against moisture and physical abrasion. Running the NMB cable through conduit effectively isolates it from the cinder block environment, mitigating the risks associated with moisture absorption and crumbling. Secondly, if using conduit is not feasible, ensure that the NMB cable is installed in as dry a location as possible within the cinder block wall. This might involve strategic placement away from areas prone to moisture accumulation or using vapor barriers to minimize moisture transmission through the wall. Furthermore, proper support and securement of the NMB cable are essential to prevent it from coming into direct contact with the cinder block surface and reduce the likelihood of damage from crumbling. This involves using appropriate cable staples or ties to maintain a safe distance between the cable and the block. When dealing with electrical wiring in cinder block walls, it is always advisable to consult the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and local electrical codes for specific requirements and recommendations. The NEC provides detailed guidelines on wiring methods, materials, and installation practices to ensure electrical safety and compliance. It is important to note that direct burial of NMB cable in cinder block walls is generally prohibited due to the inherent risks of moisture and physical damage. The NEC typically requires the use of approved wiring methods, such as conduit or other raceways, when installing electrical cables in concrete or masonry walls. In summary, the differences in composition and structural properties between cinder blocks and cement blocks have significant implications for electrical wiring practices. While NMB cable is commonly used in residential wiring, its susceptibility to moisture damage and the tendency of cinder blocks to crumble make direct installation in cinder block walls a risky proposition. To ensure electrical safety and compliance with electrical codes, it is essential to take appropriate precautions, such as using conduit or installing the cable in a dry location to protect the NMB cable from moisture and physical damage when working with cinder block walls. These precautions will help prevent cable failure, reduce the risk of electrical hazards, and ensure the long-term reliability of the electrical system.